Thank the gentleman. Mr. Swazi, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for holding this hearing today. Ranking Member, thank you so much for helping hold the hearing as well. This is, I've learned a lot here today. Mayor DiNatale, I've learned a lot from you today. I didn't know you were a Republican who voted for Trump, but I still love you and you're a great mayor.
I hope we're still friends.
Of course we are. We're great friends. I don't think that people realize some of the different inequities that are going on here. And fairness is something I heard a lot here today. I want to make America fair again. I want to see some fairness here. So do you know that, Mayor DiNatale, do you know that New York State is the biggest net donor to the federal government of any state in the United States of America? We send between $36 billion to $45 billion a year more to the federal government than we get back in state taxes. Did you know that? So we're a huge net donor to the federal government. So Mr. Smith from Nebraska, our colleague, ranking member here, was incredulous that you pay such high property taxes. Well, we could reduce our property taxes in New York State if we had more of our own federal money coming back to our state. But the reality is that just New York and California together pay $400 billion a year in federal taxes to the federal government. $400 billion a year in federal taxes, California and New York. Do you know how much Nebraska pays in federal taxes to the federal government? About $7 or $8 billion a year. $400 billion from New York and California, $7 or $8 billion from Nebraska. Now that's fair, and we're in on that because we're all in this together. That's what the United States of America is.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, I will.
Would it be more fair if Nebraska fell under a different federal minimum wage than other states or regions of the country?
I'm not going to go off topic on that today, though, but I'll be happy to discuss it with you at a future time. So, Mayor Tarter, do you think it's fair that people would be taxed on the taxes they've already paid in state and local taxes? Do you think that would be fair?
No, and it hasn't been part of our tax code since the very beginning, since 1913 or 1862, depending on when you consider the first tax code.
Mr. Lineback, do you think that it's fair that my Republican colleagues think that we should take the long arm of the federal government to reach in to state and local governments and say, listen, you got to change your taxing policies because we don't like it in the federal government. You've got to change the way you do things. You think it's fair that the long arm of the federal government's got to reach in and try and change local governments?
I do not think it's fair, but let me clarify. NACO has not taken a position for or against the tax cut. We've simply stood up for counties. We fought to preserve tax-free muni bonds, and we will continue to fight to double taxation to preserve the entire SALT deduction. And
I want to make it clear, we're not talking about the whole tax cut today. We're talking about the state and local cap that has been capped at $10,000. Do you know that it was the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, a man named Justin Smith Morrill, one of the founders of the Republican Party at the time of the enactment of the Civil War tax. He said, quote, it's a question of the vital importance to the states that the general government, the federal government, should not absorb all their taxable resources, that the accustomed objects of state taxation should, in some degree, go untouched. The orbits of the United States and the states must be different and conflicting. Otherwise, we might perplex and jostle if we did not actually crush some of the most loyal states in the Union. That was one of the founders of the Republican Party who talked about this juxtaposition between the federal and the state's government. But we're putting this pressure on a lot of local governments by doing this. Dr. Imhoff, Mr. Mitchell, Lieutenant Mitchell, do you think it's fair that local governments would have to cut their taxes and thereby cut their services to pay for this giveaway?
No.
No, sir.
So I want to make it clear that earlier, Mr. Rice from South Carolina was talking about someone's got to pay the taxes if we restore this. Well, we could pay for this. We could pay for this by increasing the federal tax bracket for the highest taxpayers in America from 37 back to where it was, to 39.6, and raise the corporate tax rate from 21 to 25. That would pay for the reinstatement of the state and local tax deduction. So I think this is a question of fairness. And if we want to make America fair again, we want to make it so we don't have double taxation. We want to make it so we're not pushing pressure on these local governments. We don't want to make it unfair that the governments, the people that are subsidizing the federal government are not getting hit again with a punch in the gut from this state and local cap then we should reinstate the state and local cap deduction to its entirety. It would be fair to the local governments, it would be fair to the taxpayers of these states, it would be fair to the people of the United States of America, and it would be consistent with the concept of the separation between the federal government and the state and local governments.
Thank you, gentlemen.